Hey guys, I'm Bree,
I'm Sam.
and this is
The
the
Local
Local
Losers
Losers
podcast.
Podcast.
We kind of got it that time.
I know, because I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna wait for Sam. I'm just gonna go for it.
Nice.
So, welcome back.
Welcome. I didn't know if you wanted me to jump in on that part too.
No, you can, girl. Go ahead. I feel like something's off today. Like it seems dark in my room,
It's
but
because
it's
it's a
only.
dark day.
I know it's like a dark day, but your room, like I like your lighting in your room. Like mine looks sad.
It's because I have the one. Yeah, I did turn on the one overhead, and then I moved my lamp that's usually over there to over here.
Nice.
I'm gonna move it back because I hate it here. I kind of wanted it to be over here, but it's whatever. We'll figure it out one day.
We're just gonna deal with it today.
Yep.
So, Sam, what are we doing today?
Oh my gosh! So, it's finally October, which means it's spooky season.
Spooky season. Ha 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 ha. Oh god, I feel like I have to be quiet for some reason. I'm like, yeah, it's spooky season. But no, it is spooky season. I think our whole month is planned around Halloween.
Kind of. It's the first episode went up for this month. It went up on the first because that was Friday, and the first Friday of the month. But the next two will definitely be. I also want to say that we're taking off 2 weeks. One, because we'll be recording on one of those weeks, and it's like a big project. But also, our schedule has always been the first, second, and last Friday of the month. So this month has 5 weeks. So it works out a little weird, and we have 2 extra weeks. But it helps out in a sense because we have something big planned for the 29th, which is the final podcast of this month. So that one should be really fun, and we're gonna have like a big thing going on. We're gonna have something great. It's gonna be fun.
I'm so excited.
I'm like not trying to ruin it, but like also talk about
it.
But
like, just get ready for it. I'm sorry. I feel like my mic was really far. So okay.
Sorry,
so
before
today...
you... Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay, it's okay.
So yeah, so the 1st, 8th, and the 29th will all be days that they go up, and then the 15th and 22nd are not going to be.
Still 3, though, so...
Yeah, exactly. Still 3 this month, so it worked out.
Yeah. Okay, so today... Oh my god, rude. Okay, so today we will be talking about scary stories.
I'm gonna put in a sound effect.
Please do. I've been watching like a lot of crime scene videos. Am I saying that right? I've been watching a lot of crime videos lately. So like it kind of like fits perfectly with this. And like it's been on YouTube. Like I've watched people that do like their makeup and talk about the crime. It's satisfying.
I love those videos.
It's like disturbing to hear it, but I just need to hear it. But I'm excited. I feel like I'm missing something else to say.
I know. I'm like thinking, last time, this is the second time we're recording this too because it just wasn't working out the first time. So we said a lot and I literally just deleted the file. So I have no idea what else we said.
I was going to restart anyway, so...
Yeah. I have no idea what we said in that. But
I don't know. You know, let's just dive in.
We said the important things.
Yeah, so, alright. I'm going to go first. I'm going to have one bigger story that I'll be talking about, and Sam will have, like, 3.
Yeah, so she's going to be doing a recap kind of one of the videos, and I'm going to be reading scary stories that I found on the internet, like Reddit and, like, this other site called Extend. It is called Xtales. I don't know where I got Extend from.
Literally didn't get that right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So, I just want to give the credit to Haley Elizabeth because I've been watching her videos for a while now, and it's just so good. So good. So, this video that I just watched was the Scream-inspired killers. I'm looking down at my notebook, by the way, so I know I probably shouldn't be looking at the camera, but, like, I'm just reading my little notes. I'm so proud of myself. Last time we tried recording this, I didn't have my notes, and I was like, and yeah, so the next thing that happened was, but now I feel like I'm more put together. Okay, So basically, it's about two kids that try to recreate their own murder movie, just like the Scream movie. And I think this is perfect because, it's Halloween like, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so unfortunately, I'm gonna talk about the victim first because that's how it was just brought up. I'm literally taking what she said in the video. I don't take any credit for this at all. Like, I just love the way that she told the
What
story.
was her name again?
Haley Elizabeth
On YouTube. Go look her up.
on YouTube. Hey girl, if you're watching this. Okay. So Cassie was born December 21st, 1989. She was the middle child, and she, once again, like Haley, she goes into like detail about her, like her whole family. So I just like pointed out like the stuff that is like the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Like she talks about, what is it called? Like, I'm a Gemini. What is that? Is it a horoscope?
Yeah.
She like says, like, she brings up like the horoscopes of people. I feel like that's
Like
cool.
the zodiacs and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Okay. Um, so she would work different jobs to save up a car because she was 16, so she was obviously trying to save up money. So she'd do like babysitting jobs, house sitting jobs, all
Mm-hmm.
that. She also had a boyfriend at 16, and his name was Matt. So September of 2006, Cassie's aunt and uncle asked her to house sit while they go on vacation, and she said yes because she's trying to save up money. She got to bring her boyfriend Matt over to the aunt and uncle's house because, like, she was still trying to be responsible, but at the same time, like, she didn't really want to be fully alone, I'm pretty sure. So she was like, oh, like, can I just bring over my boyfriend?
Which
And they
is
said yes.
that's reasonable because like if you're house sitting someone's house, it's nice to have someone else. Like I brought you to Tanya
Exactly.
Nelly's.
And, like, and they just knew that they weren't, like, Cassie would never be the one to, like, throw a house party or whatever, so they trusted her, and they were like, yeah, you can bring him over. So, Matt came over, but he also brought his friends Tori and Brian, and Tori and Brian are besties.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to point that out. Brian and Tori loved horror movies and filming horror movies, or like they were planning out this whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
which obviously comes in a big role for this. So Cassie didn't want Tori and Brian there because she didn't ask her aunt and her uncle for them to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was kind of this overstepping a boundary. But Matt was like, "It's fine. Like we're just here watching a movie. Like there's no party or nothing's happening. Like we're fine." So they all watch a movie. 15 minutes in watching the movie, I'm pretty sure it's a horror movie. I'm pretty sure. I'm not exactly sure. Brian goes to the bathroom, comes back, and says, "Tori, let's leave. This is boring," because they said that they thought it was gonna be like a house party. So they leave. After they leave, it was Cassie and Matt, and all of a sudden, a couple minutes after they're watching the movie, the lights turn off for a little, and then a couple minutes later, half of the lights turn on. Matt had to be home at 11, but called his mom and asked if he could stay with Cassie because she was scared. Because, first of all, I'd be scared too.
Yeah.
Like,
Things are
if
just starting
that.
to happen. Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm.
And, obviously, like, none of them, like, when the lights did turn off, they both didn't go down to the basement because they. Oh, I forgot to add. When Tori and Brian came to the house, Cassie gave a tour of the home, which helps them later on. But obviously, like she didn't think of giving him a tour would literally lead to her getting killed. So that's how he knew where like stuff was.
Mm-hmm.
So she showed the basement, and that's where like the outlets or whatever, like
Yeah, the
to turn
surge
off.
protectors or not surge protectors. Oh my
Exactly.
god, what is it called? Break box.
Yeah.
Breaker box.
So you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
So, but that's where the lights were located. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
they both didn't want to go by themselves and go check out the lights. So, like, they just waited, and the lights turned back on. Half of them did. So, Matt was supposed to go home at 11, and then Cassie was like, I really don't want to sleep by myself. Like, it's really creepy, especially since the lights just turned on and off. So, he tried calling his mom, and his mom was like, you know, no, like, I'm not letting two teenagers just be by themselves in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have Cassie come over to our house so she's not alone.
But
So
that
she
defeats
like
the
gave
purpose.
Yeah, so she gave the offer. So she's like, if
Mm.
you really are scared, like you can come over to our house, sleep over there. She's like, no. Um, she had to turn down the offer because she was watching the house and she
Mm.
had to watch like the animals. So she said no. So, um, after 11, Cassie's by herself watching TV. Then the power goes out again. 2 days later, her body was found by her younger cousin that was 13 years old, and she was stabbed to death. Imagine, sorry, I'm flipping my page. Imagine literally your younger cousin finding you dead.
First of all, traumatizing for the cousin. Second of all,
Yeah.
hello?
Like it skipped to that fast because then they explain it. Haley explains it
Yeah.
later on. So it
But
like the
like,
way I said it,
that's so wild. Like,
I know. So
I keep saying
she was found that she was stabbed 30 times with a knife. Oh God,
that's
there
so
was no.
overkill.
I know there was no force of entry, so that means like Cassie knew this person
Mm-hmm.
because if they didn't have a force of entry, like they knew their way in there, like they got
Mm-hmm.
their like it was like it wasn't just a random person killing someone like
Yeah.
if it was a robbery. Um, so Matt was actually the first main target because he was the last one to see her.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Which is usually
well,
how it goes.
yeah, but then Matt's mom actually said like no, he was literally home the night of because I picked her up and I saw Cassie with like going back into the house. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the alibi. Um, so Brian and Tori were also put into question. They seemed a little sus. Um, I Brian, they were like they, you know how like if you get questioned and like you actually did it, like you're going to pretend like you don't know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, so polygraph tests were given to Matt, Tori, and Brian. Matt passed because he literally didn't do it,
Mm-hmm.
but Tori and Brian's they didn't pass. And there was like big questions that were asked.
Mm-hmm.
Like they said the night of they were at the movie, you know the movie Holes that was
Yeah.
premiering that year.
Is this
So
a true
apparently they
story?
yeah.
Oh.
Mhm. I know. So they went and they said, "Oh yeah, we were at this movie theater. Like here's our ticket." But like when they I guess they asked during the polygraph, they said like it didn't run through
Mm-hmm.
correct. They actually also the police went to the movie theater and they're like, oh, do you know these boys? And the lady, I guess, at the front was like, oh, yeah, they come in all the time. And the cops were like, oh, well, did you see them this night of
Mm-hmm.
this whatever? She's like, no. So the cops already know that they're lying about where they were the night of,
Mm-hmm.
obviously. So then they were brought back in for questioning after they realized that the whole ticket thing and like that they were just making that up. All of a sudden, Brian sits down and breaks into tears because he confessed what happened and because he felt bad. Also, the really, if even you, Sam, like if you're
Mm-hmm.
interested in this, like the videos because they recorded before and after the murder,
Mm-hmm.
like they have three. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later, but they literally make a footage 3 days worth of the leading up to her killing. Like they literally sit down
They
and they write out like what they're gonna do.
like Brian and Tori.
Mm-hmm. And
Wow.
after they do the killing, like Brian's like, "Holy fucking shit! I just killed Cassie. I just saw her lifeless body." Like literally, like they were recording it after, before and after.
That's sick.
I know. Um. Anyway, so they wanted to make their own horror movie because that's what they wanted to do. But Brian apparently he said that this was supposed to be a prank. But like the cops were like, "Well, if this was a prank, why wouldn't you film it during your prank? And why would you have real weapons?"
Exactly. Like, oh, let me prank somebody by taking a real knife to stab them with. Haha, so funny.
Literally, like they. But like the thing is, like they had the cameras and everything. Like they were
Yeah.
getting everything before and after, but they just
They literally incriminated themselves.
so they brought real knives, which clearly, what do you? I don't know. Apparently, like the whole plan was like of them pranking. Cassie and Matt, they were hoping when they turned the lights off that they would go into the basement and like, oh, gotcha, with real knives. I don't know how. So when Brian went to the bathroom, he actually went to the basement and unlocked the door. So later on, they would come back
Oh.
and they would just enter in that way. So that's why there was no force of entry because they did it. They already planned it. So while Tori and Brian wait for Matt to leave, they hide in the basement and they play with the lights until the power went off. Apparently, they were expecting Matt and Cassie to go downstairs to the basement to see what was wrong. When it was only Cassie, the boys were still supposed to prank her, according to Brian. Tori took it too far and actually started to stab her. It's kind of suspicious that it was an actual prank. Why wouldn't you film it?
Yeah.
Tori stabbed most of the time. Then Tori turned to Brian and said, "Don't let me do this by myself." Brian stabbed her about 3 times. I'm pretty sure it's way more. I don't know. But then also in the video, Brian's the one saying, "I just killed Cassie," and Tori's not saying, "I just killed Cassie," but like you could still. He's like, "Dude, shut up! Like we have to get our act straight." Like clearly they're
Mm-hmm.
both into it, but then Tori tries to use that video footage of Brian saying, "I just killed Cassie" against him.
Wow.
This is too.
Tori definitely, that was like premeditated in my mind because Tori definitely was
Oh,
planning to kill her.
and one of them, I think it was, I don't know which one. I think it was Brian that actually apparently liked her, like had a crush on her. I don't know. I don't know. 3 days worth of vlog to talk about their victims because apparently if it was a prank they were gonna do this to more people.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were gonna do to them. Cops knew that this wasn't actually a prank. The boys planned to kill other people, and there was footage before and after the murder. Both of the boys got life in prison with first-degree murder with no possibility of parole.
Good.
So, oh, and all of like the tapes and I guess the videos, and the knives and the weapons and whatever, because they also had masks on.
Mm-hmm.
They bought long black coats like to be like the Scream
Mm-hmm.
masks. They actually buried it somewhere else, and then since Brian was confessing all this, he told them, and they found like the knives that they used and the masks.
That's
So
so sad.
and like this, the thing about Cassie's aunt and uncle's house is that it's in the middle of nowhere. So
Mm-hmm.
like that's probably another reason why her body was there for days because
Yeah, that's no one's really gonna be there, and then the aunt and uncle weren't home, so
and then everyone was like, "Oh, well, if I just told Cassie to come over to Matt's house or if we didn't go on vacation, like everyone's like putting the
yeah,
blame on themselves, but it's literally Brian and Tori."
yeah,
So that's the story that I found. Um like it's sad how it's true.
yeah. And the thing is that that's not even like the first time something like that has happened. Like those girls who were like, "We're gonna sacrifice our friend to Slenderman," and they like killed her, and that was a whole thing.
Even watched yesterday because I was there's another YouTuber that I watch. I think her name is Danielle Christie. I'm not entirely sure,
Mm-hmm.
but it was basically these two boys. I'm not gonna say the whole story. I just want to look up the actual name of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the evil brothers who killed for fame. It was like the two older brothers out of 5 or 6. Like it was like a decent amount of siblings.
Mm-hmm.
Killed their whole family and so killed the parents and then 3 of the siblings, but they had 2 other siblings. They forgot to kill the 2-year-old because of what was going on in their heads, and they literally cut like the younger sister's throat. Like they don't know how she made it out alive.
That's horrible. Like it's good that she's alive, but like the fact that she had to like suffer, and the whole thing about that being her own family is just
And
disgusting.
you can hear before like one of the younger brothers died, obviously from him getting murdered. He called the cops, and like one of the brothers like sabotaged him, and he was like, please, like he's gonna kill me, but he was also like it was like a tag team thing.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, please, like let me in, he's gonna kill me. He trusted him, he opened the door, but then he actually killed him. I forgot the names, but like
That's
he
people are the real
and you could
monsters, man.
I know, and you could hear she plays the what is it called, the recording of the
The phone
police
call,
call,
yeah.
and like you can hear like my brothers are like killing my family, and then after you can hear him like probably stab him or whatever, and then after that, the one of the boys picks up the phone. They're like hello, and they smash the phone.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I had to
No,
like
and
I had to let it
just the
sink
silent
in.
nod. That's so messed up.
I know. Like, and I feel so bad because they had to grow up with no parents,
Mm-hmm.
like, and be foster kids, and they had to change their whole identity.
Yeah, because that's ridiculous.
Anyway, so what's your stories?
So
Are yours true stories?
one says it's based on a true story. I don't know. But this first one is. It's just like a little introduction into scary stories in a sense. This is a short one on Reddit that I found. Um, I'm like trying to figure out a way to like talk more about it in general. This is on r/horror stories. It has 1 award, and it's by the user Lettuce Aromantic 8544.
Okay, per Gladys.
If you hear any background noise, sorry, I don't know what's happening.
Me too. I feel like there's background
I
noise in
keep
mine.
laughing into the microphone. Let me move back. Okay. So this one is called "Did I See a Little Boy or Was I Hallucinating?" This one's like literally like a short thing. This is like just someone who's talking about something really quick that happened to them. So, it was around winter. I was having my third term examination when I decided to pull an all-nighter. I was studying for my maths exam. I think this is in Britain, based off of that just being maths. um, I felt really sleepy because I hadn't really slept properly for the past few days because of tuition and tuition work. It was probably around 3:40 in the morning, and I remember feeling really sleepy to the point where I was slowly dozing off. My brain wasn't functioning well because of the lack of sleep. I couldn't even focus on what I was doing. That's when I gave up and then slowly opened my eyes to get up and go to bed. That's when I saw this little boy wearing striped pajamas. I don't really remember his face, but there were lights flashing behind him like different colors. Name it. Oh, it just says name it blue, green, red, orange. Oh, okay. Name it blue, green, red, orange, literally every color you can think of. He kept looking at me. He was very short, probably like around 4'8". It was crazy. I thought it was just my imagination because I was really sleepy. The flashing lights I thought were my cousin's brother's room light because he had this LED light. I didn't really think anything of it and I went to sleep. Ooh, spooky. There's not a lot of punctuation in that, so that's why I had a
Yeah,
tiny
like
bit of a hard time reading that. I was
it
like,
seemed
wait.
like something I would type up.
So yeah, just a little horror. But it's funny because the comments are like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you were just hallucinating.
That's funny.
Yeah, so again, that was on r/horror stories under the user Lettuce Aromantic 8544. Yeah, it was 21 days ago. That said like 1 day ago the other day. I don't
I
know.
thought you said Gladys.
Gladys.
Did I say Gladys? I'm pretty sure I said Gladys or Gladys
I said
before.
lettuce.
I said I think I said Gladys before. If you go back to
Oh my god. But yeah, no. Lettuce Aromantic 8544. Yeah, let me just go back right now.
Can you please start me saying, ooh, Gladys? Oh
my god. So then the next two I have are from Xtales.net. Now, Xtales.net I literally just found out about when I was looking for horror stories. I was like, I don't want to.
God, these damn cars!
That one I heard this time. I forgot to turn off my air conditioner, so if that's in the background, sorry.
YOLO.
No. No. So on this site, I don't know if it's all horror stories, but I know that the ones I looked up were horror stories, and like a good majority of them are. This one is about a 7-minute long read, and this one is called The Broken Pendant. I don't see an actual user Oh my god. Like creator or anything, like someone who posted it. It just says the title.
Is it like supposed to be anonymous?
I don't think it's supposed to be anonymous. I just know that there's nothing here for it. You can leave comments and stuff. There's a bunch of different ones. There's like chapters for some of them and stuff. So like there's a lot you can read on this website. Um yeah, I don't see anything from an actual author, but again, the title is The Broken Pendant. And let me just read the little. Oh, this was posted July 16th, 2021. Let me read the little.
Oh, so kind of recent.
I guess log line. It's not really a log line, but a woman can perceive the dead, and that is still not the darkest part of her existence. So that's what this story is about.
Well, I was like kind of like a little twister in my head.
I don't know. You want me to read it again?
No, crap. Okay. All right, go on.
Okay. So, the broken pendant. She moved around the dark living room, trying to get to the hall without bumping into anything, and surprisingly, she did. It was as if she had moved through the furniture. The clouds rumbled over her head in the sky, although the rain had stopped. She put the dish in the sink and went back to the living room, ignoring the young woman who stood in the hallway. With her torn-up dress and her face hidden behind her messy hair, both covered in dirt and blood. She sat on the couch in complete darkness and dead silence. The only thing that could be heard was the remnants of the storm that had now calmed down. She moved her head towards the window and looked outside. Another woman stood just outside the window, old, this one but with somewhat the same appearance, clothes dirty, torn up, and bloodied face. Hidden behind her bushy hair, also covered in dirt and blood. She ignored the woman as if she wasn't even there. She was waiting for someone. How long would it take him, she wondered. He, on the other hand, stood by the road near his pickup truck in the middle of nowhere as he zipped up his dirty pants and looked around to make sure that nobody had seen him. Then he got back in his truck. He reached into the pocket of his sweat-soaked shirt and pulled out a gold bracelet. He admired it for a few seconds, wiped off the blood, and then he threw a quick look at the two small feet peeking out of the bush and a dress with flowers on it before firing up the engine and driving away. He pulled on the front of the wooden shack of the... What? Oh, sorry. He pulled up in front of the wooden shack of a house that had somehow survived the storm, but was still in the dark. As he entered, he heard rushed feet and the accompanied voice melody to his ears. What took you so long? She asked. Sorry, hun. Got stuck due to the storm, he replied as he kissed her and went toward the darker part of the house, probably to the bathroom.
Oh, I wonder how that's important.
I don't know, but the fact that they said probably to the bathroom.
Probably.
Probably to the bathroom.
Probably went into the kitchen. I don't know.
She too went into the kitchen and ignored That's something. Wait a minute. She too went into the kitchen and ignored yet another young woman who had just appeared at the entrance. She wore a beautiful dress with flowers on it, and that too, like the dresses of all the others, was covered in dirt and blood. The next hour was spent silently as they both sat on opposite ends of the dining table and enjoyed a cold and not so delicious meal. Oh.
Ew, what? This is more just sad than scary.
Right? So far, it's just kind of like sad. He wondered why she had even gone into the kitchen, if not to heat the food. Halfway through their dinner, she broke the silence. Honey, did you get my pendant fixed? She asked, ignoring the dark figure standing all around the table. The tone of her voice was evident that she had been waiting to ask him all day, but didn't want to seem eager. No, dear. Couldn't get to the shop. The storm. Besides, he said he'll call me when it's fixed. Oh, okay. I'm gonna try to do different voices.
I didn't realize that. I was like, she's trying to do different voices. Oh, okay.
Halfway through the story, I start doing different voices. She hung her head down and didn't say anything for the rest of the night. After the dinner, he grabbed a warm beer out of the fridge that had shut down since the power cut out and sat on the couch, waiting and hoping that they'd fix the line soon so that he could watch a thing or two on the television. He sat in the dark, sipping away the memories of the day when she walked in and sat beside him. The dark figures followed. Is everything okay? Is everything okay, sweetheart? He asked.
Oh wait, is everything okay, sweetheart?
He asked, placing a hand around her neck. Yeah, it's just can't sleep in the dark all by myself, she answered as she leaned and put her head on his shoulder. Nobody said anything for what felt like an eternity before they drifted away into nothingness. The next morning was dull and gray. The clouds didn't leave just yet. They seemed to have 1 or 2 arrows left in the quiver. The thunder accompanied them. He woke up alone on the couch and went straight to get ready for work. After half an hour later, when he had put when he had put himself in cleaner clothes and had toast for breakfast, he marched to the door. Okay, hon, see you in the evening, he said without looking in the living room, but then he did. His gaze locked onto the empty couch. He smiled and walked closer. He reached out and waved his hand in the air as if he was caressing someone's head, and then he leaned in and kissed the empty air on the couch before leaving.
Did I just hear that right?
Right? I'm like,
there's no one there?
It keeps reinforcing the fact that it's an empty couch and no one's there. But he leaned in as if he was caressing someone's head.
Oh.
He got in his truck, reached into his pocket, and pulled out the gold bracelet, clean and shiny. He stared at it for another minute and then fired up the engine and drove away. Sorry. Just pretend that was the engine sound.
That's what you were trying to do. I was like, alright, sit.
No, I was trying to clear my throat. He seemed to have been driving aimlessly, but he wasn't. He had a destination in his mind. The gray sky stood witness as he pulled over near a very old tree. He stepped out and walked through the blankets of cold, strong winds and sat down at the base of the tree. There was a hole at the bottom of the trunk in which he reached and pulled out an old wooden box. Then he reached into his pocket one last time to take out the bracelet, and he put it among all the other pieces of jewelry in the box. He sat there looking at his memories, running his fingers through all kinds of jewelry. Rings, nose pins, anklets, bracelets.
You have nose pins?
I don't know what that is. Earrings.
A nose piercing?
Maybe, but like,
sorry,
wouldn't you call it a nose piercing?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway.
Earrings, necklaces, and bangles. Gold, silver, platinum, even fake, but all clean and shiny. Suddenly, he stopped and took out the only piece of jewelry that still had some blood on it. He held it in front of his eyes that had tears in them and remembered that doomed night, the night of the storm. He had come home late, not because of the storm, though. He had stepped in, and the first sound that fell to his ears was of distrust and hatred. You son of a bitch, you did it again, didn't you? He had forgotten now when it had all started, but he remembered that it started with her seeing gray figures around the house. He tried to calm her down and managed to persuade her to stay in that house. He couldn't do what he did anywhere else, but it became difficult when she said that those gray figures had started whispering to her. He thought that she was going mad, that she was losing her mind, but one day she asked, "Are you hiding something from me?" "What? Nothing, sweetie. I'm not hiding anything from you. These women told me that you did horrible things to them. Is that true?" "What women, dear? There's no one here. That's just all in your head." But she didn't believe him. She never believed him after that, and then the night arrived. "Tell me the truth. You killed another woman, didn't you?" "Are you out of your mind? Do you realize what you're saying? I didn't kill anyone." "Then who is the woman behind you?" "There is no one behind me," he shouted, though he didn't believe any of this crap. He was scared to death because he didn't know how she could have known this. Ahan, I think is his name. "Then what's in your pocket?" Nothing but the roar of thunder followed. "There's nothing in my pocket. Just leave me alone." But she didn't leave him alone. She lunged at him and frisked the pair of earrings out of his pocket. She held the earrings in the air between them and then asked, "What the hell is this? Which innocent woman do they belong to? Give it back!" "No, you're a murderer. They told me everything you did to them, you sick fuck. They told me you like them when they're dead. Is that what you like? Is this why you do this? You disgusting..." Before she could finish, he jumped and tried to get the earrings back, but she was quick. "No, it's over, you monster," she cried as she stumbled across the dark hallway toward the living room. "I'm calling the cops." He wouldn't be able to tell the present day what had come over him. He grabbed the first thing he could and followed. Unfortunately, the thing happened to be a bar wrench. A few minutes later, her lifeless body laid on the living room floor, blood spurting everywhere, and he stood up and zipped his pants when he saw something glimmering in the dark. He leaned in and picked it up along with the pair of earrings. He looked at the blood-covered pendant, and the time seemed to have stopped. For him, the night never ended. The storm never calmed down, and even though it was a very beautiful sunny day, he sat at the base of the tree, holding the broken pendant, and for him, everything was still just gray and deprived of joy. A few meters away, another middle-aged woman was just strolling out in nature. She hadn't been out of her house in a while, so she was trying to enjoy every second and catch every tiny ray of this warm, comforting sunlight. But her eyes laid upon a poor fellow who sat under a tree, away from the light, holding a box in one hand and a piece of jewelry in another, crying. "Excuse me, are you okay?" she asked. He snapped back into reality, turned his head toward his wife, and stood there, cursing at him. Her necklace glimmered even under the gray sky, covered with heavy clouds. "Oop. You sick motherfucker. You disgust me. I can't believe I ever loved you. You sick..." She didn't finish her sentence. She couldn't. How could she? He didn't let her. Soon enough, another gray figure of a middle-aged woman appearing in the living room, and the glimmering necklace joined the others in the wooden box where it would stay forever. And that's the end of that story.
That was like, so you're telling me that like the lady was hallucinating, but also the guy was murdering people.
No, so what that story is like, she wasn't really hallucinating so much as she was actually seeing the people he killed.
Things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Which is
But the
wild.
way that he was saying it made it seem like she was hallucinating.
Yeah, he was trying to make her seem crazy because he couldn't see him. But how else would she have known about all the murders he did? So that was kind of a cool story. Yeah.
I like that story.
I like that one. That one was good.
I love she probably went into the bathroom.
The writing was a little weird, but it's good. It got very vivid at the end when it was like blood spurting everywhere. I'm like,
wait a minute. Like sometimes you just need to hear that when it comes to stories like that.
Yeah, for a horror story, it makes sense for you to hear something like that or read something like that, whatever. Also, I just noticed I'm wearing this sweater.
Oh my god, that's what we forgot.
Probably. Mind your business, because I bought this when I thought she was doing better and like she was getting better, and I was like, let me support her in her journey and getting better and stuff. And then, everything happened with frenemies, and I was just like, well, I still spent my money on the sweater, so I'm gonna wear it.
I'm wearing my flannel from the last time we talked about it.
Oh my god, what was it? I usually always remember. I think it was episode 9? 10. Episode 10, I think it was.
So go listen to that one if you didn't listen to it. Mm-hmm. Also, random thing. There's fucking stink bugs outside my window. Like, go home.
There's always stink bugs in New York.
There is, but like lately they've just been like chilling on my window. Anyway, okay. So tell me another story. You have another story?
Yeah. So then this is the last story. It's a little longer. This one's 12 minutes. And it's called It Lived in the Well. This one was posted on August 7th, 2021. Like I said, this site has always been like horror fiction, so it is a horror site for short, or not even short, because again, people have chapters, but for horror stories, but they're typically fiction. But this one is based on true events. Lightning sounds. That's more for aliens, isn't it?
Yeah,
so this one, I keep saying like logline, that's like a film thing. I don't know what to call it. It's like the synopsis, like the intro summary, whatever. But this one is true accounts of encounters with an unknown creature that lived in a well in my father's village. I don't know. I think this will be told from the perspective of one person, but it could be a whole village of people.
I feel like it might just be one. I feel like the village might be a little bit too much for 12 minutes.
Yeah, it's probably just the one person a couple times. Oh yeah, this is definitely one person. Okay. It lived in the well. When I started writing my blog, it was just horror fiction. I never wrote anything from my real life experiences. The main reason was that I never had any real life experiences involving the mysterious or the unknown, never encountered anything unnatural. Since I had to go with my imagination, I was always looking for inspiration. Recently, I started asking all the people I know if they have ever had any such experiences. Following the events that my father narrated to me, it includes his and others' accounts of encounters with an unknown creature. It lived in a well in the village where my father spent his early childhood. So basically, this is actually going to be different people's encounters that he just kind of like compiled into one thing. So it's like different people around the father's village from the father's early childhood. So this person has never been to the
He's never seen it before,
I don't
but
think
like
he has his own like encounter with it. So he said the author says I had started asking people because I was looking for inspiration, but when I listened to the events, I decided to write them just as they are. I just arranged them so that they would interest the readers and keep their adrenaline flowing. There were rumors that someone or something used to lurk at the boundary that separates the forest from the fields of farmers. There was an ancient well just near the boundary. This well had quenched the thirst of many generations and had provided life to their crops. The first account goes back to when my father wasn't even born. He grew up hearing this story. So this is the first account that they have. Me just immediately shutting down. It was way
wait, quick
past.
question. Should I like mute myself for now? Like if I hear like
No, you're fine. I don't hear anything coming from your end.
okay, alright, good, just making sure.
It was way past sundown. Back in the days, there used to be no electricity for the village. It wasn't rare, though. Many villages in my country won't see a light bulb for many decades. A man was coming home from his fields. Now, my father doesn't remember which season it was. The man had been either plowing his field, sowing, or irrigating it. It was late, and he was alone. He passed the said well at a reasonable distance, and he saw a woman. It was quite late and unusual for a woman to be alone. She sat just by the well, tucking her knees under her elbows, staring into nothingness. The man stopped and tried to recognize the woman. It was a small village, so there was a pretty good chance that he would already know her. It was dark. He couldn't see her face very clearly. He got a little closer, and that's when he saw that the woman wasn't wearing any clothes.
Hold on.
What? Wait a minute now. Is this story going somewhere?
Wait a damn minute.
Now, the story has been retold so many times that there are a few versions of it. In some versions, it was a night of the full moon. Her skin glowed in the silvery light. I think part of that is made up, but again, I've heard enough myths and folktales. Many creatures hunt on the night of the full moon. Whatever the case, moonlight or no moonlight, this woman was trying to enchant the man, enticing him with her beauty. The man, however, was not some young and eager fool. He had aged hearing all sorts of stories, probably had lived some of those stories too. He kept his distance and asked her if she was in trouble. The woman did not reply. She did not utter a word and laid back on her side. She gestured to the man to come to her, closer to her. That's when the man saw her face. Again, there are multiple versions of the story. In a few of them, she had glowing eyes of different colors. In others, she had a disfigured face, an evil grin on her face, or no features at all, like the Slenderman. Whatever it was, the man got scared. He screamed and ran towards the village as fast as he could. The most terrifying thing about this story is that the woman chased after him. The man heard her footsteps and a wild growl like that of a hungry animal. He did not dare look back behind, nor did he stop until he entered the village while screaming and looking white as a ghost. I hate when things chase, like in like video games and stories, like in horror things. Like the minute something chases you, that's the worst.
We haven't played Minecraft in a while, which we have to get back onto, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I turned off the zombie thing or whatever. It's like I'm actually running away from it in real life, but I'm not.
That's like dramatic because that's Minecraft. And that's not even like you have a modded Minecraft. That's just normal Minecraft that you're getting scared.
Okay, I'm just trying to relate to running away from something. Like, alright.
But yeah, no, I like in horror games and stuff when they have you running away from the creatures and they're not like on a set path. I hate that because like it's so annoying. And like I know it's fake and I know it's a game. Like I'm the same way with horror movies. I'm like whatever, it's not scary, but when they chase you, for some reason, those are the types of horror games that just get me, that are like, you're being chased now. Like Five Nights at Freddy's, not scary at all to me. But like, what is it? Monstrum, I think
Freddy's
is the
reminds
game.
me of Twains. Oh my god. When he used to play that, do you know Twains?
Yes.
He would, oh my god, that was so funny. I'm sorry, anyway,
No, you're good.
continue.
I'm like reading it. All right. So that was the first one.
How many are there in total? Does it say? Or you just...
No, it says. I see 4, but I scrolled a little fast, so there might be 5. Oh yeah, there's 5. Okay.
Okay.
So then the next one, I keep scrolling past them. All right. Sorry. Okay, so this next one happened when the father of the poster was about 9 years old. I don't know why I said 9 like that one. 9.
9.
Okay. All right. So this is the second account.
I don't know why that was so funny.
I don't know, man. A farmer had lost one of his buffaloes. Many farmers of the village used to have cows or buffaloes. Cattle farming was one of the sources of their income. Most of the families were not wealthy enough to own a herd. They usually only had one. Understandably, the cattle became a member of his family, even received a name. The family members would get attached to it. Oh my god, would not get attached to their own like thing. Okay. The family members would get attached to it. Often one of the cattle would go missing. There was no need to put stress on how much a cow or buffalo would cost. Anyone would make a fortune by selling one of those, so it naturally could be the case that some thief would steal them. Sorry, for some reason my brain wasn't processing that. So basically, the cow could go missing, and people would be like, "Oh, a thief stole my cow, my poor baby."
My baby.
Whenever someone's cattle would go missing, all the members of the family, along with friends and relatives, would go out into the forest to search for them. Sometimes they'd find them. When they could not find them, they would conclude that somebody had stolen them and go to the police station to file a report. That would be it. This one time, when the buffalo went missing, the members of the family searched for her and found her in the well. It was back when there was no protective wall around the well. The poor animal must have slipped and fell. Miraculously, she was still alive, so the family members called everyone for help. It was broad daylight. The whole village gathered around the well, including kids, men, and women. My father was among them. Everyone gave their suggestions. Ideas were discussed. There was no animal control and rescue department to call, so the villagers tied one end of a thick rope to a tractor. A few villagers came to pull too, and a young fellow descended into the well. He had barely only touched the water when he started to scream like a maniac. He started to throw his hands and feet in an attempt to get out of the well as fast as he could. When he got out, he refused to speak, or maybe he couldn't. The people calmed him down and asked why he acted that way. He revealed that there was a hole in the inner wall just above the water level. As he was lowered into the well, he saw someone. It was dark in the hole, so he couldn't see clearly. What terrified him the most was the fact that the figure was chewing on something which looked like a leg of an animal. Nobody believed him, but they still had to get the poor animal out. The next time, 2 older men dropped into the well. They did find the hole, small enough to barely fit a man. They also found a half-eaten leg, several human and animal bones, but no one else. There was a small tunnel in the wall that went somewhere under the ground. The sight sent a chill down their spine. The young boy was right. The leg finally pulled the buffalo out. What? Sorry.
Ooh, what?
Sorry. No, because I read the leg, but it says the leg is... The word leg is literally under the first word, so my eyes just went the leg for some reason. But it
I
says,
get it.
Yeah, sorry.
It's literally happened to me before.
Me breaking immersion the entire time. They finally
the
pulled...
leg what?
Yeah, the leg what? They finally pulled the buffalo out, and that's when they saw that she was missing a leg. Thing was just munching, having a good time.
She was hungry, girl. I'm like, this is supposed to be scary, but like, girl, she was hungry.
I mean, it is pretty terrifying. Like, that's like creepy, but it's also reading, because like if I was to visually see this, I'd be like, Argh.
Yeah, but us reading it to each other, we're like, ew, like, yeah. Oh my god.
Also, when you're reading something like horror movies or something with like your best friends and stuff, you can't take that seriously. Like, we're not making fun of the stories at all that we're reading. It's just us not taking
I'm
things
sorry if I
seriously.
keep. By the way, I'm sorry if I keep yawning. I didn't have coffee yet, and I think
Reasons why we can't take things seriously.
I'm sorry. I haven't had coffee yet.
Okay, so this is the third incident. So the next incident is around the same time, so like as the previous one with the buffalo. An annual fair was held in the nearest town village. My father told me that it was like Christmas for the kids. The incident happened to my grandma. She took her eldest son, the two youngest sons, my father and my uncle, to the fair. Since her eldest son had grown up enough to care for himself, she didn't care much for him. So he was like out on his own doing whatever. Her main concerns were my father and my uncle, so she held their hands tightly throughout their trip to the town, the entirety of their visit to the fair, and their return. It had gotten dark on their way back. The eldest son led their way with a few feet ahead of them. My grandmother, father, and uncle were behind. When they reached just outside the village, the eldest uncle ran toward the home and soon disappeared. My grandma slowly followed with her two youngest sons. They reached a... I'm so sorry, I don't know how to read this word. Bifurcation? Bifurcation? One path leading to the village and other to the forest. That's when they heard the eldest uncle. He was running through the fields toward the well, calling my father and uncle to play with him. Had my grandma not held their hands tightly, they would have followed him. People of the village had not yet forgotten the buffalo incident. She knew better than to fall for this trick. She turned the other way and came back home. My oldest uncle was already there. But from that last one, I feel like this thing is almost like a skinwalker. Have you heard of a skinwalker before?
No, I'm gonna look it up. Let me look it up.
I'm so sorry for the noise in the
Skinwalker?
background. Yeah. So they're like these legends in typically the Native American tribes where they're like these shape-shifting creatures.
That?
Basically. They like shapeshift.
Oh my god, wait, that's so weird how there's a flashing light.
Yeah, it's the sensors in the camera. But
No, it's so weird.
the
That?
yeah, something like that. Not necessarily that, but like
Something like that.
Yeah, like that and the Wendigo and stuff.
Because I
Basically
look it up,
skinwalkers
like...
mimic people, and they can like pretend to be people in order to like catch their prey and stuff.
They can mute into people.
Literally like shapeshifters, basically. It's like terrifying. Skinwalkers are a whole other thing. We can talk about that after. But like the fact that this creature in this retelling has like been like literally mimicked the voice of the eldest uncle who was already at home. That's creepy. I don't like that.
I don't like that one bit.
Okay, so yeah, like I was saying, it says the next incident is the highlight of the story and the father's own experience. So this is literally what the father said, not just like his grandmother and his eldest uncle and whatnot. This is literally his father being like, "This is what happened to me." He came face to face with the creature, with one of his friends. The father did. So This is the fourth one. We're almost there. So then, sorry, both sorry.
Sorry.
My father and a friend of his used to wake up early when it would still be dark. They would go to their fields to irrigate the crops. Usually my father's friend would wake up first, and then they would go wake up my father. But that day, my father woke up early and went to call his friend. It was pretty dark, so the friend had a lantern. They both reached the well and split up the jobs. Before I go further, I should explain the irrigation system. Back then, they didn't have any motorized sprinkler or drip irrigation system. They simply used to make canals to each of their fields and filled them up with water. So one of them would make sure that the canals were deep enough to hold the water, and the other would fill them with the water. They had a spade, which is just a shovel, which they used to dig. The friend had a spade in his hand. My father offered to dig, but he refused. It was strange that he insisted on doing the harder part of the job. While working, he would stare at my father for a few seconds before turning away, but he didn't say anything. He never even came close to the well, kept his distance. So already the friend is showing signs of like not wanting to go near that well that, again, has already been established. Don't go there. That thing's wild. About After about an hour of working, they decided to take some rest. The friend put down the spade but immediately picked up the lantern. My father asked him to just relax and sit, but he refused. There was something eerie about the whole situation. Now, at this time, usually, the sun would have risen. They would start to see the orange-red hue at the horizon, but it was still pitch black. Before something horrible could happen, someone came running from the village. It was my father. Upon seeing this, the impersonator took its real form and crawled back down the well. It did not jump, but crawled into its hole like a spider. My father came to his friend, told each other what had happened, and the events became clear. The friend had sensed something on his way to the well. They usually went talking and joking around, but that day they were quiet. The doppelganger didn't even come into the light of the lantern. The friend suspected something sinister, so he always kept an eye on him, even while working. He never put down his spade. If he did, he picked up the lantern. My father, on the other hand, woke up and waited for his friend. When he didn't show up, my father went to his house. He learned that his friend had already gone to the fields, and more importantly, himself had come to call him. My father realized what had happened and ran as fast as he could. He managed to get there in time, otherwise something horrible would have happened. They both came back home, and then after about an hour, the sun came up. My father moved out for studies, but upon his return, he would hear a rumor or two about the creature in the well. It was hard to tell which one was the creature and which one wasn't. People started giving their theories about what it could be. Some old folks would call these stories an Uchav. It's spelled Uchhhav.
Uchhhav.
Yeah.
Uchhov? Yeah, I think it's like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I'm sorry. It's a Hindi word. Wait. It's a term of the regional language that related to the Hindi word utsaah, Utsaah, which in English is like excitement. So this is all taking place in, I believe, India, or somewhere in the Middle East. I don't know. Ooh, sorry. Regionally, I think it would be like in India. I believe this is where most of these this village would be located. It's located because it's true. But yeah, no, that thing is creepy.
Yeah,
that
that's
one. Ooh.
that's very.
Yeah. So these folks also that the events were nothing but the products of excited brain activity. The young fellas used to smoke weed or abuse other substances, so it was natural that they would start to hallucinate. It was a little hypocritical on their part because they all used to do nothing but smoke and play cards themselves while sitting under a tree. Some people came up with the idea that the entity in the well was the jinn. It's spelled Djinn. Today's last incident is okay, yeah. So that's what people started believing it was the jinn. Jinn?
We'll just say jinn.
I'm not good at pronunciation. I can barely speak English. I can barely peak English, really.
Girl, Miss Girl, take a nap.
Why am I reading? This has taken more than 12 minutes. I
know. How long have you been recording?
I don't know. Okay, so this is the last incident, and this one is from an old woman's account of her meeting with the said creature.
She met the creature?
Apparently, it says this incident is an old woman's account of her meeting with the said jinn and his wife in the well. So I guess this creature is male and has a wife.
They have a family?
I don't know.
What?
But it's 100% an old woman, so I'm very confused about that. We're gonna figure it out. We're on to number 5. Okay. Last one, y'all. We're almost there. An old woman lived in the village. She was an obstetrician, so it was literally in her job description that she could be called at any hour of the night. In old times, most babies were delivered at home. It's still very common practice in many villages of my country. One night, a tall man knocked on this old woman's door. Her services were required. It came across as a little strange to her. She was usually informed beforehand, so she could keep her schedule free. It was even stranger that she didn't know any woman in the village who was pregnant at the time. Anyway, she took her paraphernalia and went along with this man. He said that his wife was in labor. The old woman noticed that the man was leading her out of the village, but she didn't say anything. Back at the time, toilets weren't a thing in the village. I know, that's unhygienic. That's literally what it says. Now people have totally changed. People are educated and aware now, but back then people used to go out. Okay.
Alrighty then.
The old woman did not suspect a thing. For all she knew, the pregnant lady must have gone out to relieve herself, and her water broke. It was only when the man turned in the direction of the well that she got a little worried. The man took her to the well and stopped. The old woman claimed that the jinn carried her into the well and his home. The most interesting thing about this story is that she claimed that there was indeed a pregnant lady. She helped in the delivery of the baby.
Creature?
Yeah, apparently.
What? I knew it!
She helped in the delivery of the baby. Both the mother and the baby survived. Later, the jinn carried her back out of the well and gave her a small sack filled with something for payment. When he had left, the woman opened the sack. It was filled with pieces of coal. She cursed under her breath and started walking back towards her home. The next part made me think the story was made up. She didn't throw it all away. Instead, she dropped it all piece by piece on her way back. By the time she got home, only a few pieces were left. She claimed she did it this way because she got scared the jinn might consider it an insult and harm her. The following morning, she woke up and found that all the remaining pieces had been converted into gold. She cried and ran back all the way back. She cried and ran back the way she had walked. She did find a few pieces, but the rest were gone. People passing must have picked them up. She cried and cried, but to no help. So that's like basically the end of her story, and then they go into like talking about it and summing up everything. So I did not think that this story was true because many details didn't match the previous events. Also, when people asked her to show them the rest of the gold pieces, she made excuses. My father told me this story because it was it was the one story that was retold the most. After a while, people stopped bothering the old woman, but it made some other theories rise. People got really hooked on the jinn theory, so they started worshipping him in secret. Rumors started to spread that if the jinn is pleased, he would reward his worshippers. If anyone in the village made a fortune overnight, people assumed that the person was a jinn worshipper and got rewarded. Whatever it was, jinn or something else, nobody got hurt or went missing. Soon enough, the village got electricity. People installed their own 2 wells, so they never had to go near the well. And in enough time, the rumors died. The new generation was educated, so they did not believe in the supernatural. Then the television came along. Technology and media made people more invested in movies and TV series instead. Some people still believe in this, though. A rumor or a story pops up now and then. Many of them still beat around the idea of the supernatural entity living in the well, but nobody cares anymore. Whatever lived in the well, if it did, shall always remain a mystery. And that's it.
That was... Damn.
That last one was a little...
The last one, like, it was kind of her fault for...
Yeah, that was all on her. That was 100% on her.
We had a lot of scary stories today.
I don't know if we had a lot. We had like,
we did have a lot, but like
that one just had a couple like thrown in there together like that. But yeah,
I liked this. I really hope it didn't put people to sleep because I enjoyed hearing the stories.
Yeah, I like stories like that and stuff where you're like, oh, scary, blah, blah, blah.
Ooh, like that.
Definitely.
Do you want to add anything before we wrap it up?
Nope. Oh, right. All credit is given to the people who created these stories and accounts that we've read and stuff today. Like I said, xtales.net, The Broken Pendant, and It Lived in the Well. And on the Reddit one, Did I See a Boy or Was It a Hallucination? And it was like Lettuce Aromantic 8544, I believe.
And Haley Elizabeth for my story. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We hope you enjoyed this Halloween episode. Not like our Halloween episode, but like Halloween
just
theme.
Spooky mood. Spooky season.
yeah, we hope you enjoy. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
the Local Losers Podcast.
Watch the YouTube videos, comment,
Watch the YouTube
subscribe.
videos. Let us know how you feel.
Yeah. Sorry about background noise.
Very sorry. Very. It was. I feel like it was very bad today.
Yeah, but we got through
But
it.
exactly. So we will see you guys next time.
Bye. Oh, be excited, be prepared for our next episode. It's gonna be so fun.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.